All right, so you're looking for some sweet BMX action in video game form. Well, look no further. We're diving deep into 5 different BMX games on Steam today. We've got data, user reviews, the whole 9 yards to give you the inside scoop.
There really is a BMX game out there for everyone. Arcade-style trick fests, hardcore simulations, even some games that blur the lines a little bit.
Exactly. And we're going to break down each game, highlighting what makes each one unique, what are the players saying about it, and most importantly, will it be the perfect fit for you?
Think of us like your BMX game Sherpas, guiding you through the treacherous peaks and valleys of the gaming world. We'll point out the hidden gems, the games to maybe avoid, and everything in between.
Perfect. So first up, we've got Icycle on thin ice. This one came out in 2017. And at first glance, you might think, okay, another BMX game. But trust me, this one is a little different.
Yeah, Icycle's more of a precision platformer. You're guiding this tiny cyclist across these really surreal and often hilarious landscapes.
The art style is really something else. People describe it as beautiful and unsettling, sometimes both at the same time. But get this, underneath all the quirky humor, there's some unexpected depth.
Yeah, some players have found some pretty deep meanings in the game. Stuff about the futility of war, even the impact of climate change. It's kind of wild, actually.
It's not all doom and gloom, though. People love the level design. They say it's challenging but rewarding, with tons of secrets and hidden paths to uncover.
One reviewer said it reminded them of the old-school game Icycle. Remember that one? That's a nice little throwback.
Totally. I can see the similarities. It's crazy how a game with such a simple premise can evoke such a range of emotions. Icycle might be the perfect game if you're looking for something challenging and thought-provoking, with a good dose of dark humor.
Of course, if you're after pure BMX action, like pulling off crazy tricks and combos, Icycle might not be your best bet. For that, we need to look at something else.
Right. Let's talk about a game that's all about pushing your BMX skills to the limit. Next on the list, we've got Pumped BMX Plus, which launched back in 2015.
Think Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, but on a BMX bike. It's all about nailing those huge combos and racking up insane high scores.
I love games like this, that classic arcade-style gameplay loop, You learn a new trick, perfect it, then chain it together with other moves. So satisfying.
And the animations in this game are butter smooth. You can really feel the responsiveness in the controls, which is crucial for a game like this.
Speaking of responsiveness, the soundtrack is amazing. Super high energy, electro swing kind of vibe, perfect for getting amped up for a BMX session.
Right, it's got that perfect blend of style and energy.
Most players seem to love the challenge and replayability, but I did see a few people complain about the keyboard controls. Probably best to play this one with a controller.
It's true. In a game like this, having intuitive controls is key, especially when you're trying to nail those complex combos.
Couldn't agree more. So if you're looking to test your reflexes, satisfy your inner trickster, and a game you can keep coming back to, Pumped BMX Plus is definitely worth checking out.
However, if you're more into a grounded and realistic BMX experience, this one might not be for you. We need to move on to look at something a bit different.
Okay, let's switch gears then. Up next, we have BMX Streets, which came out earlier this year. And this one is for the hardcore BMX fans out there.
BMX Streets is a physics-based, open-world game. You're basically thrown into a sprawling city and told to go explore, get creative, and push your limits. But fair warning, this game does not hold your hand.
You're going to be eating dirt for a while before you start landing those smooth combos. The learning curve is steep.
But that's part of the appeal. You feel a real sense of accomplishment when you start to master the controls and feel truly in control of the bike.
Some players were frustrated with the realism and difficulty, but others, they loved it. They loved the depth, the challenge, the whole package.
One reviewer even compared it to Session, that skateboarding game known for its insane realism.
It seems like more and more developers are embracing those realistic physics to create these really immersive experiences. Although it's definitely a trade-off, right? Realism often comes at the expense of accessibility.
For sure. It's always a balancing act for developers.
One thing that's cool about BMX Streets is that it has a really active modding community. People are creating custom maps and adding tons of new content.
Yeah, it's really impressive to see how a passionate community can elevate a game beyond its initial release.
I think that's a testament to how well made the base game is. So if you're up for a challenge and want a BMX experience that feels truly authentic, BMX Streets might be right up your alley. Just be prepared to put in the time to master the controls.
On the other hand, if you're after a more arcade-style experience with a faster pace and lower entry barrier, you might want to pass on this one.
Got it. All right, buckle up for our next game because this one is a wild ride. Motor Doom came out just a couple months ago, and it is a glorious, over-the-top mashup of BMX tricks, bullet hell action, and demon-slaying mayhem.
It's like Tony Hawk's Pro Skater meets Vampire Survivors, with a retro aesthetic and a soundtrack that will melt your face.
The gameplay is super addictive, and the controls are smooth as butter. But what really sets Motor Doom apart is the intensity. You're constantly on the edge of your seat, dodging projectiles, mowing down demons, all while trying to land that perfect grind.
And the soundtrack, oh man, it's perfect. Pure adrenaline-fueled chaos.
What's interesting is how many players praise the accessibility options. You can actually turn on auto-aim and auto-upgrade features.
That's great to see. Makes the game a lot more approachable for players who might not be as experienced with bullet hell games.
Yeah, everyone can enjoy the core gameplay regardless of their skill level. So if you're looking for something fast, furious, and totally bonkers, Motor Doom is definitely worth checking out.
But if you prefer a more traditional BMX experience, maybe without all the demon flaying, you might want to skip this one.
All right, for our final game in this part of the deep dive, we're hopping onto a slightly different ride. Get ready for Street Unit X, a 2024 release that takes everything you love about classic extreme sports games and throws you, wait for it, onto a unicycle.
You heard that right, unicycle. And you know what? It works. Street Uni X is a testament to the enduring power of those classic arcade-style sports games.
The reviews are super positive. People love the retro vibe, the tight controls, and of course, the killer soundtrack.
The control scheme is so unique, and it really adds to the gameplay. You have to think differently about your tricks and combos.
People have been saying it nails that feeling of flow and momentum from those classic skateboarding games. But it's not just about pulling off tricks, it's about finding the perfect line, maintaining your balance, expressing yourself through your riding style.
It's amazing how something as simple as switching from a BMX to a unicycle can completely change the gameplay.
One reviewer even said they were so inspired by the game, they started looking at unicycles online.
That's awesome. I love that. It shows how games can inspire us in unexpected ways.
Totally. So if you're looking for something fresh and challenging with a good dose of retro charm, Street Unit X should definitely be on your radar.
However, if you're looking for a more grounded and realistic BMX experience, or if you're not into those retro visuals and gameplay, this one might not be the best choice. But hey, there's a whole world of BMX games out there.
Exactly. We've barely scratched the surface here. From surreal platformers to trick fests, a demon-slaying mashup, and even a unicycle extravaganza. It's been quite a journey.
It really shows how these games tap into different player motivations. The need for mastery, the desire for creative expression, the pure joy of having fun.
And it's been interesting to see how developers make those design choices, the control schemes, the level design, even the option to automate certain features. It all impacts the player experience in a big way. But the big question is, which BMX game is right for you?
That's the best part. There's no right or wrong answer. The perfect BMX game depends on your own personal preferences, your gaming style, and what you're looking for in a gaming experience.
Do you want to challenge yourself with a physics-based sim like BMX Streets? Maybe relive the glory days of classic extreme sports with Street Uni X and test your skills on a unicycle.
Or maybe you're looking for something completely off the wall, like Motor Doom, with its demon-slaying chaos and crazy tricks.
Don't forget about Pumped BMX Plus for that pure, addictive gameplay loop and electro swing soundtrack.
No matter which BMX game you choose, there's a common thread that runs through all of them. That sense of freedom, pushing your limits, expressing yourself through the art of BMX.
Just like riding a BMX in real life, these games offer a blend of skill, creativity, and the thrill of pushing your boundaries.
Whether you're conquering a tough level, nailing a complex combo, or just cruising through the virtual world, BMX games provide a unique experience.
So there you have it. Our deep dive into the world of BMX games is complete. We explored genres, dug deep into reviews, and learned some surprising stuff along the way.
But this is just the beginning. Now it's your turn to tell us what you think.
What BMX games are you most excited about? What are your favorite BMX games from the past?
Share your stories, your insights, your recommendations. Let's keep the conversation going.
Let's build a community of BMX gaming fans. At the end of the day, it's all about the ride, the challenge, the creativity, and the joy of connecting with people who love BMX.
Until next time, keep shredding. And as we wrap up our BMX journey, I think it's worth highlighting that element of challenge that runs through all of these games, whether it's mastering physics-defying tricks in Pumped BMX Plus or conquering a particularly brutal bonus level in Icycle on thin ice, or just Wrapping your head around those realistic controls in BMX Streets, there's an undeniable sense of accomplishment that comes with finally nailing it.
Yeah, for sure. There's something so satisfying about overcoming a tough challenge in a game. It makes you feel like you've really achieved something.
Exactly. And what's fascinating here is how that challenge directly translates into engagement. It's not about mindless button mashing. It's about developing skills, refining your strategy, and cultivating a certain resilience in the face of failure. It's often those frustrating moments, those times when you want to throw your controller across the room, that ultimately lead to the most satisfying victories.
You're right. It's those moments where you finally overcome something you've been struggling with that really stick with you. But, some of these games sound seriously tough. Controller throwing levels of difficulty. Is there a risk of alienating players who just want to chill and have some fun?
That's a valid point. And it's where game design plays a crucial role. A well-designed, challenging game offers a gradual learning curve, ensuring players experience a sense of accomplishment at each step. It's like learning to ride a BMX in real life. You wouldn't expect to land a backflip on your first try. You start with the basics, build your skills and confidence gradually over time.
Right, like learning to ollie before you try a kickflip.
Exactly. So it's not about punishing players, but about empowering them to overcome obstacles and ultimately achieve a sense of mastery. And let's not forget about accessibility options, features like adjustable difficulty settings, comprehensive tutorials, even the option to automate certain aspects of the gameplay. These can make challenging games more approachable for a wider range of players, so everyone can experience the joy of riding no matter their skill level.
Makes sense. It's about finding that sweet spot, right? Where the challenge is engaging without being overwhelming, allowing players to push their limits but without feeling discouraged. We've talked a lot about the challenge in these BMX games, but what about the creative side of BMX? Where does that come in?
That's where games like Motor Doom and Street Uni X really stand out. They go beyond just completing objectives. It's about expressing yourself through your riding style. Think of it as a digital canvas for your BMX creativity.
Finding that perfect line, landing that super stylish trick combo, maybe even causing some carnage along the way, all while looking effortlessly cool, of course.
Exactly. And the customization options in these games really enhance that creative freedom. You can personalize your rider, your bike, even your arsenal of demon-slaying weapons in Motor Doom to create a truly unique BMX persona.
It reminds me of the old Tony Hawk games, where you could spend hours tweaking your skater's look and style.
Yeah, it's all about personalization. It lets players connect with the game on a deeper level. It's like they're inhabiting their virtual BMX self. And speaking of self-expression, we can't forget about the impact of music.
The music. We've mentioned those banging soundtracks a few times, but what role does music actually play in shaping the overall BMX experience?
Music is more than just background noise. It's a vital part of the gameplay experience. The right soundtrack can amplify the excitement, create a specific atmosphere, and even influence player behavior.
And I can definitely see that. A high-energy track might make a challenging level feel even more intense, while a more chilled-out, groovy beat might encourage players to explore the open world.
Exactly. And in Street UniX, that punk-infused soundtrack really sets the tone. It complements the game's retro aesthetic and rebellious spirit, adding a layer of authenticity.
It's about creating a cohesive experience, where the music, visuals, and gameplay all come together. Okay, as we wrap up this deep dive, I have one final burning question. And it's a question I think a lot of listeners might be asking themselves. Why should I care about BMX games? I mean, I get they can be fun and challenging, but is there something more to it? Is there a reason these games resonate with so many players, even those who might not be into BMX in real life?
That's a fantastic question. And it really gets to the core of why we're drawn to games in the first place. BMX games, at their heart, tap into a very human desire, the desire for mastery, that drive to push our limits and achieve something that seems impossible.
It's that feeling of accomplishment, right? Of overcoming obstacles and proving to ourselves that we can do it.
Exactly. And it's not just about physical mastery. These games require mental agility, strategic thinking, and even creative problem solving to overcome their challenges.
And a bit of risk-taking too, right? Like going for that crazy trick that you probably shouldn't.
You got it. It's about embracing that element of risk, pushing yourself beyond your comfort zone, and seeing what you're truly capable of. And we can't forget about the sense of community that surrounds BMX, both in the real world and in the virtual one.
You're right. We talked about those active modding communities and the dedicated developers who listen to player feedback. It's pretty cool.
It creates a sense of shared passion. That feeling of belonging to a tribe of like-minded individuals who all love BMX.
It's more than just a game, then. It's about connecting with others who share your interests and pushing each other to be better. Ride harder, Create something truly unique.
Absolutely. And that, I think, is the real beauty of BMX games. They're not just about entertainment. They're about empowerment, community, and striving for something greater than ourselves.
Well said. So there you have it, folks. Our deep dive into the world of BMX games is complete. We explored genres, dug into reviews, and uncovered some pretty surprising insights along the way.
But the conversation doesn't stop here.
Definitely not. We want to hear from you. What are your thoughts on these games? Which ones are you most excited about? What experiences have you had with BMX games?
Share your stories, insights, and recommendations. Keep that BMX passion alive.
Because at the end of the day, it's all about the ride. The challenge, the creativity, the joy of connecting with others who love two wheels, and a whole lot of adrenaline.
Until next time, keep shredding.
And it's not just about physical mastery. These games, they demand mental agility too, strategic thinking, even creative problem solving to conquer those challenges.
Oh, absolutely.
And maybe even, a little bit of risk taking, like going for a crazy trick that you probably shouldn't even try.
Definitely, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's about embracing that risk, pushing yourself beyond what you think you can do, and seeing what you're truly capable of. And let's not forget the sense of community that surrounds BMX, both in the real world and in the virtual world of gaming.
Right. We've talked about those active modding communities, those dedicated developers who are constantly listening to player feedback and evolving their games. It's awesome.
It creates a real sense of shared passion, that feeling of belonging, you know, like you're part of a tribe of people who all love BMX.
It becomes more than just a game at that point. It's about connecting with others who share your interests and pushing each other to be better, ride harder, create something truly unique.
Exactly. And that, I think, is the real beauty of BMX games. They're not just about entertainment. They're about empowerment, community, and striving for something bigger than ourselves.
Well said. So there you have it, folks. Our deep dive into the world of BMX games has come to an end. We explored the genres, dug into the reviews, and we even unearthed some pretty surprising insights along the way.
But the conversation doesn't end here.
Oh, definitely not.
Yeah.
We want to hear from you. What are your thoughts on these games? Which ones are you excited to play? What experiences have you had with BMX games in the past?
Share your stories. Share your insights. Share your recommendations. Let's keep that BMX passion alive and rolling.
Because at the end of the day, it's all about the ride. The challenge, the creativity, and the joy of connecting with people who love two wheels and a whole lot of adrenaline.
Until next time, keep shredding.